Hey guys, this is National Master Kevin Yang back at it with another video. So, this one is a little bit of an emotional one, but I think my channel might close here. And what I mean by that is this may or may not be the last video. Now, to my loyal viewers out there, it's been great. I've started this channel. It's been a little bit over a year, and I'm getting busier, so I might not be able to record these analysis videos, and so I've decided that it's best to maybe take a step back and just, I don't know. But in general, I think this will probably be the last analysis video. What else did I want to say? I guess for Friday simuls, those will probably not be a thing anymore because, as you saw in my last video, I am getting a little bit more busy, and so just wanted to let you know that if you ever need a training game or you need someone to play with, I'm here. All right, just message me at Poo2012 just on this account that you always challenge me on, and I'm happy to challenge you. I mean, if you need somebody to train with, if you need a game, if you want coaching, if you want anything, just message me. And if you've enjoyed the content, thank you so much because it really means a lot to me when I see that people are learning, people are having fun, and just in general, they're enjoying chess. So that's all I wanted to say. But let's get into our last analysis video. So this was against Chessleonmaster. This past Friday was probably the last Friday simul. Sorry I didn't announce it earlier, but if you really wanted to play me this Friday, then shoot me a message. I may or may not be there on Friday. Just shoot a message on chess.com, and so I'll probably respond. I might not respond like immediately, but I'll know that somebody out there is requesting to play. So let's get into the game. This one is against Chessleonmaster, a regular customer to our simuls. And it starts off with d4, knight f6, c4, and g6. So obviously it's a commitment, because white is going to get this big center. But sometimes when I play the move knight c3, black might play d5, and this is what is called the Grunfeld. And I've showed it to you from the black side, I've showed it to you playing it from the white side, I think. I don't remember, but I felt like I've shown it to you before. And what this move does is after pawn takes, knight takes, the move e4, and white gets the center. But the idea for black is now after the bishop comes to g7, this diagonal is very important. And so it looks like white is doing great. But the thing is now black can start putting pressure on these two guys. Well, this guy, he's sort of more protected, but the bishop really likes this diagonal. And so what's going to happen is c5 and knight c6, because once this guy moves, the bishop is going to take this pawn, check, and the rook is gone. So that's black's goal. And so, in the game, our friend Chessleonmaster played what is called the King's Indian defense, because now I get a big center, and after I develop my pieces, e5. So the first question you might ask in this position is, why not just take? Right? Why not just take? And The only problem with this is after queen takes, bishop takes, it looks like you hang on here because the knight defends the pawn. But there's a good old trick in Black's book saying knight takes e4, and you might be like, wait, that's a free knight, right? But bishop takes knight, and when we look at it here, you sort of look at it and say, well, Black has 6 pawns, White has 6 pawns, and nothing really did me much good, because I have 2 bishops on the back, and it didn't really help me here. So that's why this pawn on e5 is not a free pawn. So I play the move bishop to e3. Now there's so many other moves here. There's d5 being the main line. There is still pawn takes, and a queen trade, which is also a line. I think castling might be a line, but I chose the move bishop to e3. And here there are multiple lines. There is the move knight c6, there's the move knight g4 hitting the bishop, there's the move pawn takes on d4, and so I'm going to show you a little bit of a preview. Pawn takes, knight takes, rook e8, f3, c6, and Black wants to play d5, but White's okay. I mean, bishop f2, d5, take, and c5. So this is a line, and when we get to knight c6, well, it's also a line, People play queen d2, people play castles, people play f3. It all works. So then we get to the move in the game, knight to c6. And now I get what I want, because after d5, the knight goes back. So obviously, you're looking at Black's setup and you're thinking, wait, why are they so cramped? And the idea is that Black wants to play knight h5, f5, and sort of expand on the king side. And I play knight d2. And the idea behind knight d2 is I now prevent knight g4. Because if knight g4 happens now, I can take on g4. And after bishop takes g4, queen takes g4. And I get the piece, right? Because after bishop takes, queen takes, right? f5, there's pawn takes, g takes, and sure, I mean, queen e2, f4, I castle, I take with the pawn, I'm satisfied. So, instead, in the game, our friend Chessleonmaster plays a6. Now, to me, I'm a little skeptical of this move. And the reason why is because what White usually does in these positions is tries to attack on the queen side. And so by playing a6, this actually makes my job easier. So what I think our friend Chessleonmaster should have done is play the move knight to d7. Because in this position, it's important to get the king side expanded. Now, you might not have too much of an attack because after b4, f5, f3, and let's say f4, bishop f2, and g5, like, Black wants to play g4 eventually, but as long as I don't castle here, I'm in the clear zone because my objective is to attack on the queen side, try to weaken something, if you know what I mean. So, I play b4, well, not in this position, a6, and here I play b4. So, I obviously want to play c5, right? I want to sort of bring my knight in and try to get this structure weakened. I also might think about a4 and b5, right? So I want to push those pawns. I want to create some pressure. Knight d7, and I continue. I play c5 because I want to get my knight here. I want to take that pawn. f5. So this is a really good move, saying that if I play knight to c4, our friend Chessleonmaster is going to play f4, kick the bishop away, and then take the pawn. Well, maybe take the pawn, but I play f3. I avoid all of that because if pawn takes, I'm going to take back with the pawn and say, well, Mr. Knight, you still cannot come here because my pawn will still be there. And so I maintain this position. And if pawn takes, maybe I can transfer my bishop to g4 and to e6. Knight f6, knight c4. I continue building the pressure on the weak pawn, right? I do what I do because I need to break through. Now, I know that black wants to do something here, but I figured that I am the faster attacker here. f4, okay, I'm just going to back my bishop. g5, threatening maybe g4. I'm just going to play b5 because now, after pawn takes b5, knight takes b5, this pawn is real weak, and after something like knight to e8, defending the pawn, here's what I'm going to do. I could play queen b3, I could play pawn takes, followed by something like bishop to b6. I have multiple ways to deal with it, right? So for example, bam, 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 bishop b6, queen to d7, and I could play multiple things. I could play here, here, or here, and here, and go for the pawn again. Now, our friend played the move b6, and unfortunately, this move doesn't do great because I take, the pawn leaves the defense of the b6 pawn, and now bishop takes b6. Queen d7, and I just retreat because I know that my knight wants to get on b6 and fork the rook and the queen. Rook to b8, b6, not allowing any counterplay. I don't want to take because then the bishop would come out. So my goal is just create a pass pawn. Bishop to b7, okay, I'll get my queen out. Rook to d8, defensive. a4, I'm just improving my position. And now I play g4 to block any attempt of black coming down. Now if black plays en passant, I'm going to play pawn takes g3, because now I can go bishop to e3, or I can block it up again with g4. And my other idea is I can bring my knight over to f5. So I have some ideas, right? So knight g6, g4, our friend plays h6, a5, and now rook to c1. My goal is to get to c7 or put a knight on c6. Rook to c8, and now I begin my trek to b4 to c6, and that is how I get my last game done, because our friend Chessleonmaster ran out of time here. So it felt like to me I was leading the attack. Now, if you saw the King's Indian, our friend Chessleonmaster was pushing this way, but I found a way to just block off the entire attack. My king didn't really castle, and here I was able to really break through on the queen side, if you recall, and now I'm just taking some simple steps to improve it. Maybe king to d2, double the rooks, and those are just some ideas I can use to improve my position. So, hopefully you've enjoyed my channel. It may come to an end here, but I want to reassure you that keep doing chess, keep having fun, and I'll support you. And remember, if you need help, just message me.